Hello, hello, hello. This is another episode of the Mental Threads podcast. I'm here with my guest, Stepper. It's just Stepper, right?
Yeah.
All right, nice. Stepper from New York and everything. I was just listening to his project, The Steppers. Pretty dope project. I haven't listened to the full thing all the way through, but it's like I feel like I was hooked on a couple songs on it. One of the main songs that really stood out to me was the song that had the whole Street Dreams instrumental or All Eyes on Me instrumental. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, grifters.
Yeah, but then also there was also songs that I like. Yeah, grifter. Hold on, is that a slang word or is that something you came up with?
Grifters is a slang word.
Okay,
Grifters.
is it like an older slang word or is it like a new one?
It's old. It's something. It's an actual word in the dictionary.
Okay, what is a grifter really?
A grifter is somebody who is almost like a panhandler. It's like the preacher who preaches for people to raise money, but doesn't give people any tangible results on the offers they are offering in exchange for the money they're trying to raise. Something like somebody who's just fraudulent, who talks a good game, talks always trying to raise money based on charity and good causes, but never actually doing anything tangible for the people.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I get it. So basically, just somebody who be fronting, basically fronting like they give a damn when they don't give a damn all through.
Yeah, but it's a specialty. It's a specialty in fundraising, though. It's a fundraising aspect to it that people don't understand.
Okay, and then do you just apply it to all aspects of life, like the whole grifter term? Like, can someone be spiritual grifters, financial
Yep,
grifters, or just like
yep,
just grifters? Or just like, well, it's just
yeah,
you're trying to put an image out on social
uh-huh,
media and just all types of stuff like that.
yeah.
Okay, well, that's cool. I
It's
never heard that term grifter before, so it's just like, oh wow, it's like so I'm thinking like, is that kind of underground or anything? And I'm like, I ain't know, so I was wondering.
yeah. Um, my whole album, it was driven by grifting. Just understanding people who are grifting.
Oh, okay. So you actually come in contact with a lot of people you describe or grifters in your
Uh-huh.
course.
That's what the first song on the album was really about.
Oh, okay. And
Vernacular.
like, and in regards to like grifters and dealing with grifters, how would you say being
Yeah,
a grifter in particular affected your life?
yeah. So if you look at, and I have the breakdown on Genius of the lyrics, but I'm also coming out with a few blogs and a few interviews on a breakdown of the song, because I said some really simple things in the song, but at the same time I had a lot of triple entendres, and it was metaphorically gifted. It was metaphorically delivered. Or somebody some things were so simple that people caught it, but they didn't understand the triple meanings that it had to it. And let's go back to your question again. Repeat your question.
Just basically just talking about just times where you actually had to interact
Grifters.
with a grifter.
Yeah. So I believe our whole community has been counterproductive because we've had people in leadership who are really grifters. If you look at politicians in politics, when it comes to Black liberation, you will know that the reason why we haven't been able to get to where we need to get is because we had people who are grifters, people who are always speaking for us, but never actually giving us any tangible results. The politicians we come across, the opportunities that we even get sometimes. When you hear people talking about school, school is also used as a grift. Opportunities in our neighborhood is used as a grift. It's used to keep us in a certain position in life so we're unable to free ourselves.
Oh wow, no, I feel that. No, for real. It's just I feel like it's all just it all just connects with the system and everything. I know.
Yeah,
Would
everything
you
connects us
relate?
with the system. Even
Would
even
you relate
things that
that
we think is
philosophy?
used.
Oh, sorry, my bad. No, you
Yeah,
go.
no, I'm saying even things that supposed to be used to liberate us is actually another form of a grift.
Mm.
Like some social justice movements are used as a grip.
Like
Some of
Black
them,
Lives Matter.
yeah, there was a lot of grifting going on in Black Lives Matter. Now, Black Lives does matter. Um, in some instances, it doesn't. But we know that we love our Black people and we need to be liberated. But they use that term to grift off of a lot of people in our community, and also use their own agendas to put above and before our people, and those are another set of grifters as well.
Okay, I see it, but it's just like so like when you say things like, "Oh yeah, Black lives do matter," but then sometimes they don't. What do you mean by sometimes they don't?
Sometimes we and the people of our community ignore and neglect the issues of Black people.
Mm. Okay, no, I feel that, but it's like they say Black lives sometimes don't matter. So I feel what you mean by to that concept. But when you say like, "Oh yeah, Black lives don't matter," it's like, "Oh yeah." I feel like if you lose it in the context, of, yeah, maybe sometimes we don't value each other and everything. Sometimes cause we do be people like killing each other and everything. To that degree,
Yeah,
okay, I understand. Like it's kind of
yeah,
contradictory.
yeah. There's a lot of anti-Blackness within the Black community where we have our own issues with each other that it definitely need to be handled.
Yeah, most definitely. And what do you think we need to work on it specifically in order to like get better in that direction? What are the main issues that are holding us back as a people?
Well, I know one of the issues are where we can be very selfish. We tend to become oppressors. We're very greedy, and then we leave our people where they at once we become successful or famous or popular in one area. And we have anti-Black vitriol for each other. We also let other agendas take over our belief system, our morals, and our own integrity. We let the issues of white people come into our society. We end up start worrying about white people. Then we let our own culture distract us from being united as a people. Then we also let politics. Politics can be very counterproductive, and then we also let money get in the way of how we handle business. And then when we're interacting with each other, whenever we do business, we don't like to support each other. We like to keep our resources exclusive from each other. And we live in a society where each and every culture has their own network, chain, and system to help them operate and liberate themselves financially. So many of those things we don't do correctly. We do them incorrectly, and we do it with hatred, and we're always trying to compete with each other.
Oh yeah, no, surely it's just like I feel like it's just that the whole bucket and crab full of buckets. Is it bucket in the
Yeah,
crab? Is it bucket in the crab? No, crab in the buckets
crab.
mentality.
Yeah, crabs.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah, we know seriously. Like it's just I feel like it's just one of those things where we really need to work on as a people. And I just wonder I just
Yeah.
what exactly like I know it's like definitely it's the system and the plantation mentality, but it's like like we've been free as a people for a while, and I know the traumas, the psychological traumas, and everything followed through also. But it's like even after that, we were very supportive of each other, even through Jim Crow and things of that nature. So it's just like for it to be like to the extent it is now, where it's like people would really smoke somebody over like just
Yeah.
making money to them or just out of jealousy. Like there's just somebody in my city that just got murdered like a couple months ago. Rest in peace, Ja SLT. And he was really on his way somewhere and everything, and he didn't do nothing to nobody, and they like just took his life away. And they still haven't figured out who did it. So it's really sad because it's like you had a really good energy to him, and it's like they still wanted to take his life away, and it's just like what is up with this jealous mentality? It's like it's things like that that discourage me and try to like maybe I need to think like 10, 20 steps ahead and everything. And why it's just that's why it's just like I don't know. I got to move out of my town, man. I just got to move out.
Yeah. I was also thinking about moving out my town. Pretty soon.
What town do you feel like you would consider moving to if you couldn't
I,
like?
I think I think Texas is looking really good right now. I think Texas is looking really good. Houston, Texas, or California. I think California is also looking good, but probably Houston, Texas. I just want to be around a whole bunch of Black people. You get what I'm saying? And you know, um, you're not gonna get that in New York. You get that, but that New York is more diverse than it is Black. I think it's equally diversified, and in a diverse city, you're gonna encounter a whole bunch of anti-Blackness versus if you are living around a whole bunch of Black people, you're not gonna have to deal with it as much now. You're still gonna have to deal with it because you also have people who are anti-black for the cultures within the black community. And we talk about that a lot. I talk about that a lot actually on Twitter before I even get to the Twitter space, because the Twitter stuff is a whole different world. But many of the things that are, I believe, issues to us heading into the next year is trying to unify all black people. We've had this notion that all black people are unified, and it's certainly not true. We also had this notion that when it comes to politics, or like all Democrats are unified. That's certainly definitely not true, and it's actually more of a manipulative technique when it comes to the voting system and the party system, about things that we don't know about. Many people are working with politics and working with different cultures, perceiving as if they are unified so they can empower their own interests. The
Yeah, man.
perception, the perception of unity, when it's the perception to get power, when it's actually the reality to get power. Excuse me.
Yeah, no, I feel it's just, yeah, it's the saddest thing is it's becoming more and more apparent now. I feel like back then it was just easier to hide,
Mm-hmm.
just hide behind the lines. Well, not too easy, like because like, but it's like now it's becoming more and more apparent that the whole politics and in regards to like things like this, it's kind of like a joke now. Like it's just a big parody. Like it's just
Identity politics. You want to get away with being racist, being anti-black. What you do? You hire a black person. You can hire a black man or a black woman, you know, and white people have known this technique for a while. White liberals, they definitely love that technique as well, as for a while. So, and you do those things, and you create different relationships. You could give the false perception of unity, and then the more you like the person who's being represented, the easier and the more things you're gonna get away with when it comes to oppression techniques.
yeah, man. No, seriously, just all types of things that they push to really like to keep us oppressed as a people and everything.
Mhm.
It's just crazy because you wonder. It's just like, what would it take to really like reverse a lot of this? I know we're mostly talking about grifters and everything, but I feel like that it really does bleed into like all types of aspects of society, from the church, to Black Lives Matter, to politics and everything. I feel like when Barack Obama was in office, I feel like we really should have really like pulled up to the White Office a little bit more often, to really like demand certain things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Obama was an African, and he has his own perspective. He has his own relationship with America that most Americans do.
He was raised by a
And
white mother.
yeah, exactly. So um he has his own reality and his own perception of who black people are in America and what history they have encountered. Because I'm pretty sure Obama, he doesn't know what it's like to be a black man going up generations of pain and torture through oppression. Many Haitians understand this. Many Jamaicans even would understand this. Many um, people from different countries who are black would understand this, but there's some Africans in Africa that would not understand this, because not everybody grew up in poverty that's black. So just because somebody is black, we sometimes might think the notion, they're gonna understand what we where we come from, and they're going to fight for us, and they're going to be pro-black. And that's not always the case, as you can see when we have Barack Obama. He only he only wanted to be a president for all people, and that's a little bit of the anti-blackness when we talk about, as we tend to neglect the people who are at risk the most, for the people who are slightly at risk, and we don't understand what issues need to be dealt with before we can move on to everybody.
Oh yeah, most definitely, surely. And it's just like we could talk about politics for like here and there and everything, but it's just like I want to focus more on like you, Stepper, the artist.
Yeah,
What was your background like growing up in New York and everything? Like what part of New York you grew up in? Brooklyn, Harlem,
yeah. So
Bronx?
we could get into that, man. I've had a long, crazy life, man, ever since I was younger. So ever since I was younger, I was adopted by my aunt. And, I guess that's how I came through the foster care system. But I'm an African American man. My family is African American. Our roots are from down south, South Carolina, North Carolina. And then, my parents migrated, or I said migrated, but, they moved to New York, and they had a history of also politics and working in the social justice movement, in the civil rights movement. My grandfather was heavily involved in it. My mom was heavily involved in it on my grandfather's side, and then the people on the other side, they were kind of just like everyday workers. And I grew up in the Bronx, New York. I was in Harlem for a lot of my life, so 116th Street, and then I moved back to the Bronx. So I was from the Bronx to Harlem, but majority of my life I was in the Bronx. And then when I was younger, I had to move in with my aunt in New Rochelle. But I was kind of all over the place. So I'm just a real New Yorker from the Bronx. And as I was coming up to the Bronx, I was able to meet some very powerful, important people. Someone like my my principal, and I used to link up with him after school. He used to teach me things that really changed my life around, because my life was headed in a bad direction. But I eventually was able to meet him. I was also able to meet a social worker who really changed my life around and got me my first internship at a children's agency, at a foster care agency. So I did a lot of work in the foster care system. I created youth advisory boards all over the city of New York to give foster youth a voice who felt like they needed their voices to be heard. And I also wanted to create internal change and through the ACS agencies, because I believe there was a lot of things that could get done to expedite and overachieve. I believe that I believe that the youth had the power to actually make transform a lot of different things inside the agencies. I was actually keeping a lot of kids back, things like um, group homes and the criminal justice system, reversing a lot of the counterproductive things that were slowing down the process and the success of many foster youth. And I did that for about maybe 10 years. I've been doing that for a while. That was most of my professional life. I was even I caught the attention of the White House when Obama was in office, and Congress and senators. And I was able to meet with them about a lot of the work I did, um, spearheading many of the youth advisory boards. And then, eventually I became an adult, and I still wanted to stay in the field. So I did a lot of work in politics. And then when social justice change happened, like George Floyd happened, my life changed. I went from being a foster care advocate and trying to get more foster parents and make more foster kids successful. And then I was also trying to be a mentor, go inside the schools. I was a teacher for a while, and working for after school programs and trying to change the young Black kids' lives that were being disrupted by poverty and violence. Then when George Floyd died, I put everything on pause, because I started making music when I was in college. And that's when I also started my kind of like foster care political career. And I always did slam poetry, and I always did music. So when I used to do music, it was just a hobby for me. And I was dipping and dabbing with it. I went by the name of Privilege B. That was my old AKA. So I grew up over the name of Privilege, and they used to call me Steph. That was my childhood name. They
Okay.
called me Steph and Steph, and then it was Privilege. So I was doing that for a while I was doing my hobby. George Floyd came. I put everything on hold. I put music on hold. I put the children's agencies on hold. A lot of the personal stuff that I was doing, to say, you know what, I really want to dedicate my life at this moment to doing something for George Floyd. And that's when I figured out I need to start arranging protests. So I was always doing rallies, protests, internships for political Congress members and different agencies. Then I just changed all my skills from doing that to doing stuff in social justice. I started working with organization, well, not movement called Breathe, which was like Breonna Taylor, Rodney King, Eric Garner, and other people. A legislation that was crafted to protect people from getting into those situations without police being held accountable. Things like making sure everyone has a body camera, and if um the officer did not have a body camera, his testimony would not be valid. So we wanted to implement things like that and then give police officers heavy consequences for not having body cameras on, being able to charge them with neglect of police equipment, and just small type of policies like that to make sure our people were protected in the court of law when officers were trying to do dirty things and trying to get away with murders that they were committing in our cities. And this piece of legislation, I wanted it to be, I wanted it to go far and be successful and actually be passed so we can have police legislation here in New York City and then create that nationally because it was a national movement, but I was spearheading the New York City movement with a few other men. So I really wanted to get Black men all on the same page because I feel like we're just so divided when it comes to how we interact with each other, and I don't wanted us to, I just wanted to spread love. I just wanted to spread the Breathe bill and the Breathe Act so we could create change in our criminal justice system. I believe in abolishing. I believe in reform and abolition. Then I also believe in reparations for the descendants of African American slaves here in America. So that's just a little bit about me, my upbringing, and where I come from. And now, when it relates to music, I just put my music career back on resume because I went through a whole lot of things this year that I just wanted to express. And there's some issues that needed to be dealt with. A lot of people were taking shots at me as a activist because during the social justice movement, I kind of made a name for myself in the streets, trying to be a voice, leading the charge. And I felt betrayed during the movement. I felt like I was stabbed in my back by a lot of people, and the music just Steppers was just able to put me in my own zone where I'm able to forget about all the pain, all the trauma, and then when I'm in that booth or when I'm listening to all these different sounds, I'm able to just feel so good and feel so wonderful. Like I can't believe I can't believe we're coming up with these amazing sounds, and also wanted to put on the record how I felt about certain things. So that's why I just started going to the studio because that was my first love. And even though I went inside the social justice movement, a lot of people didn't even know that I was an artist because I never cared. I never cared to put my music first. I always cared about doing the work that I do and the love for my community. But going and trying to do those things made me feel a lot of pain and I needed a lot of healing. So I think this album was able to provide me with healing. And I also think it can heal a lot of people who are pro-Black because I am a pro-Black artist. And I had a lot of confidence in myself as well because on Twitter, I created a platform for myself where I was able to be myself for the first time and voice and say what I wanted to say, and people actually enjoyed it and started to follow me. Before, I never had my own platform and I never had my own personal fans. Now, because I had the platform where I was able to create my own personal fans, I thought it was necessary to also now I could actually put my music on the same platform that my voice is on. And that's how I launched, and that's how I became a Twitter Space host. And that's what also got me into the music, motivated to drop the album even more because I wanted to introduce who I was. I wanted to introduce what the music was about. And this time I said, you know what? You know what I said this time?
What'd
I
you say?
said, I'm gonna tell you what I said. I said, I don't care what anybody has to think about me being an activist and an artist because activists aren't allowed to be artists because of the perception of what labels and a lot of other artists think about that. So many, like I had so many artists trying to give me advice. Listen, stay away from that activism shit, bro. If you're gonna do music, just do music because of the controversy that comes with a lot of the things that I'm saying. because I'm speaking about a whole bunch of white people who love hip hop. They might not love my hip hop after they hear me saying I can't fuck with white people because they evil, or if it's talking about gender, and if it's talking about the division of the
I have to
gender
pause it
wars.
there. I have you pause
What?
it there. But back on the
Yeah,
whole comment about white people being evil, I think you want to retract that statement. Keep in mind, on the podcast, it's just I interview a whole lot of people, from all types of races and backgrounds. So
yeah,
it's not
yeah. So
necessarily
yeah,
white people that are evil. I have like
no,
black
no. I'm
friends who
just
are like
giving an
literally
example.
like
I'm
my
just giving an
brothers.
example because in slavery, when the slavery happened, I always talk about reparations.
Yeah,
and we talk about the atrocities that happened to black people were evilness. That was evilness. So
yeah. But
that's
is it
why
really
when
white people that are being evil? Or is it the system? Because not
no, it's
every
the
white person on
it's
the
the
stage.
system as well. But what
Yeah.
I'm saying is when you explain something, when you center black people around a conversation, and then you call out anybody, the first thing people want to do is say he is not allowed to. We shouldn't be listening to him or whatever it is. And that's what that's like when Malcolm X first came out, or Martin Luther King came out. A lot of people loved him and a lot of people hated him. But I'm not saying everybody's evil. What I'm saying is we also have to look at. Listen, if I'm saying we need to liberate black people particularly, and there's other people who has contributed to those atrocities, let's not forget about those black people who need to be healed, right? Everybody, whoever it is, let's fight against anti-blackness racism, and let's fight for reparations, and
I mean,
let's do
yeah,
that together.
reparations seem nice and everything, but it wasn't reparations that created Black Wall Street, or that created like a lot of the HBCUs, where a lot of people can really, which I can't really say an HBCU will pretty much reverse everything, but it really helps a lot of Black folk on the right direction. I'll say since I went to North Carolina Central University, it really helped me more and more on my path. You know what I'm saying? So it's just stuff of that nature. It's just something to keep in mind. I just feel like we can all do it as a people. Like there's a whole lot of black owned businesses in DC and Atlanta and even in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And it's just like I feel like we need to go back to really relying on ourselves. Like you can still go to like Walmart every now or Harris Teeter every once in a while, but it's like I feel like we need to really start focusing on the economic side. I feel like you can only fight economically, and I feel like we create music that brings in a whole lot of revenue. We create a whole lot of things in pop culture that brings a whole lot of revenue. With Michael
Yeah.
Jackson and
Well,
stuff like
Tupac
that.
said.
Master P, JC.
Tupac said reparations for my people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Martin Luther King said cut the check. Malcolm X said we'll do reparations. Our ancestors came up with a solution to many of the problems that we were facing, on record and on paper. And the resolution was reparations. That was one of the resolutions that they have now. We didn't have too many resolutions to white supremacy and the system of oppression here in America. One of them was reparations. So should we look at one of the only resolutions and something that was actually owed to you? Like if we was able to prove that you could have sued somebody for damages for what happened to you a few years ago, and you got lawyers and you got a system that was put in place by you and your family members, are you just going to ignore it? Or are you going to say, you know what? I think I could do this without your help, sir. Even though you're owed it, I
Yeah,
don't
of
see
course.
why you would reject something that is the actual that is supposed to be made and is being made to solve many of the issues of oppression and capitalism, as well as something that you're owed. I mean, I don't think that's the smartest thing to do.
What to pretty much ask for things that you're owed is what you're asking?
Pretty much.
I mean, no, I'm telling you, like, no,
If I owe
definitely,
you
y'all.
money, don't you want it?
Of course, but y'all just, of course, Black
And
American folks
you're not gonna. Are you gonna ignore it?
not gonna ignore it for sure, but it's just at the same time, it's like even as a reparations, not saying to ignore it, but we got to put ourselves in an economical PowerPoint where we can at least build leverage. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the more leverage you can do, like with money and power, because keep in mind, this is a capitalistic society we're living in now. Every law that we have to abide to now, there's some type of profit off of it. You know what I'm saying? From we being only legal in a couple states, but not all of them. Mass incarceration. It's all these are private institutions for mass incarceration. When you go to the Netherlands, they ain't even like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, they don't even try to rehabilitate criminals or anything. It's just another horrible situation. And I'm just telling I'm just telling it to you like this, man. That's why I said this whole reparation thing, like it's cool and everything, but it's just too idealistic. I feel like realistically we need to focus on really finding ways to build income and really find other matters we can use to actually build our credit up to actually own more things, start more businesses. Which we all have the capability to do so, mind you, but we just don't support each other, and that's the problem. It's just a mentality.
Well, the only problem with that is that that would sound pretty cool what you're saying, right? But the only problem is that if you're giving away money to other groups in the midst of you telling me we should do something else, then now it becomes okay. Now you're being disingenuous and you're just neglect. Because if Joe Biden just announced millions of dollars to Indian reservations.
Of course. And they give money out to the Asians over the Asian hate thing.
So
they give money out to this, to Israel. That's what I'm saying.
If we know it's something that can be contributed to, and we see money given out, like after slavery, the government gave free land out to slave owners.
Yeah.
And then they had slaves that they were just passing laws to disavow them from economic opportunities, on top of snatching away of their homes and the discrimination and segregation and the Jim Crow that they did, while they were giving out free business opportunities to white people who are descendants of slave owners.
Of course.
So
it's shitty, but that's just the system. They built that system.
If I come to your house right now with $1 million, you mind your business, everybody's doing their thing, and I give everybody money but you and your friend who's both black, and you and your black friend said, you know what, we're gonna make money another way, and everybody else made their money from getting money from the government. It just doesn't mentally, for the African Americans, they're just not gonna understand you when you say let's do something else.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying? Like mentally,
it
would make sense if money wasn't given out to everybody else and it wasn't continuing to be given out when Black Americans were the victims of all the 90% of the oppression from 500 years. That would make sense, but that is like mentally, logically, is not a good hill to die on.
Yeah, no, I know. We can continue this conversation in the part 2 and everything. This is actually a very good conversation because I feel like whole reparations and stuff, and we're like, what should we do? Trying to build economical leverage. I feel like it's something that definitely needs to be discussed. But we'll just have to continue it for part 2 because I don't want to cut you off and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, most of that. All right, we'll hop on in a little bit. Okay, just want to let you know. Okay, part 2.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, hold up. All right, part 2 of episode 144. Back on with Stepper. All right, so it's just what we were talking about the whole reparations situation. So pretty much where you're standing at is just like in the whole reparations thing is like obviously we're owed a whole lot of money, billions dollars maybe, but it's just do you really think that they should give like the reparations money like just as like money and everything? Can it just come in the form of like write-offs, maybe like a writing off our debt? Improving our credit, things of that nature. What will reparations look to you like in your mind?
It has to be something that everyone can use, and it has to be simple. It has to be something that we could all qualify for, because providing a resource that not everybody qualifies and they can't meet the requirements and the criteria, that's just going to cause more problems. So cash is the only way, because everyone has to choose what they want to do with it, because everybody's not in the same situation. So you have to provide cash. It can't be can't be in the form of land because not everybody everybody may not want land. Some people might already have land. Some people might not have any debt. Some people might have paid off a lot of their things already. So what everybody could use is more money.
Yeah,
And that's
money's
what
one thing, but it's so like how can I say unpredictable in the sense like because it's like okay you got it, but then it's just like really everybody's mindset isn't the same in regards to, like where they're going to invest that
yeah,
into.
and
Yeah,
that would be even the reason why you need to provide people with money because that's the receipt that they have something equitable that's valuable in this market because you can do you can give them land, but it'd have to be cash and land because we wasn't just owed cash, we was also owed land. And none of that stuff was really important anyway because when you provide people with a resource, you just provide them with it. You don't say, oh, should we give the Ukrainian uh missiles and not tanks? Do they should get their tanks? Should we just give it to them for a short time? Because when they gave out free land and money to slave owners, they didn't worry about none of those things. Or when they're giving away things to the Native Americans, yeah, they're negotiating, but they're getting cash and people are getting resources out here. So when it comes, so we gotta have that equal standard and that equal mind, the equal mindset when we do it for others, we also have to take that same initiative and do it for Black Americans and Black people.
yeah, man. Like no, seriously, it's just when it comes to the whole reparations situation. And when I feel like there's a lot of things that we could probably exchange. I don't want to say exchange like like bargain, but in terms of like in terms of like finding like a certain trade and whatnot.
I mean, you can reparations is a package of a number of things.
Yeah,
It's
that's what I'm
not.
saying. Like I'm trying to figure out
It's
what would
a
be a good package. Like
yeah.
that we can
Everybody
definitely
can
get.
agree. Look, everybody can agree with a money amount, but not everybody's gonna agree. Like, hey, I want to give you a minivan on the side. And then you start getting deflected from the original point because of course it has to be money. You have to give money. But if that's the only thing, then now that's negotiable. But you have to provide money because you're talking about repairing for damages, losses, and financial issues. So you have to provide money because that's what the claim is it is money.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely money. But it's just like you remember that episode of the Chappelle Show when they all got reparations and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
And
that's
it
that's
was
just
supposed to
like
be like
a
comical
stereotype.
because like then all the record deals started like there are like hundred record deals coming up, and so like all these other like weird stereotypical things are going on for the black folk
Yeah,
community.
yeah, but that's all. You don't know. It takes money to make money. It takes money to build wealth. If you're always taking away the wealth and money from Black people, then they're never gonna have wealth, and that's why they came up with the plan of reparations because it's something that was actually owed, and it's the solution to building for Black people to build wealth. And there's data out there that says by in the next 50 years, the Black Americans will have no wealth because the system is taken from them more than is provided.
Yeah, no, seriously, that's why we really need to really wisen up and just focus on keeping the dollar within the black community.
Yeah,
And
but it's
really, that's
not
why
it's
it's like
not
I
set
feel
up.
like yeah, like definitely we can get more loans, business loans. Like that would
Yeah,
be also
no,
very
no, you're not
helpful.
you're not gonna get any loans. That's why they're in the position they're in now.
Yeah, that's like yeah,
They
business loans would be
and
wonderful for.
they've tried that. Trust me, Black Americans are experts with the economy. Like we're the ones who built the economy.
Mm-hmm.
So trust and believe. There's not one idea you're gonna come up with that Black people haven't tried already. It's not gonna happen. The only thing that you could come up with that hasn't been tried already is reparations.
Yeah, reparation, and I think then
That's the only solution that nobody hasn't tried with Black. Now they've tried that with other groups and it's worked. They've negotiated that it's worked. They've done it with
Yeah, I be wondering where the hell do they get all the money from? That's what I'm saying. They be acting like they have no money to give, and they'd be quick to give it to Asian folk and all these other folk. But if they gave us
many
money, it would
states
be an uproar. Like I never understood that.
many states are in a surplus of taxes. That's just based on perception that we don't have money. But sometimes it gets out of hand because we start overpaying people in government, overpaying our defense budget, overpaying a lot of different budgets, overpaying the police because we have it. Just because we have it, people kind of get greedy, and then because we overpay so much, we forget that we do have a backup account. Like the United States does have different accounts that they can go into. And they do have savings accounts, and they do have different type of equity accounts. They do have the money. This is how Ukrainians and Afghans and other international countries, they pay them off, and they don't always pay them off fully. They make payments, and that's the thing about paying reparations. You can make a payment to
And they can just make payments
or you
over
can let
time,
the
man.
interest build up.
Honestly, if we even if it could be like versus money, like actual money, just lending it to like certain people or whatnot, I would rather just them just funding HBCUs, funding
They've already.
more.
What I'm saying is, why would you want to do something that has led to your destruction already?
What HBCUs?
Yes,
HBCUs led to our destruction.
you're not gonna optimize your success by making people go to college because we've already been doing that. The reason why people go to HBCUs and colleges is so that they can make money, right? The whole purpose of reparations is to give people the money they need to make money because of the wealth that was taken away. You need money to build wealth. The way you get a house is by going to college to an HBCU to go in debt. Why would you put somebody in debt to get a house when you owe them money and you can just give them the money so they can go and get that house?
I meant like in a sense of just like having us give us the right technology and everything, and just the right resources and stuff altogether. Because there's a lot of HBCUs that are
No,
closing
they
down.
don't. They're not giving. They're not giving Black American colleges college opportunities like that. That's a rare occasion that a Black person from impoverished community graduates from an HBCU. That including if he's a descendant of a slave. You don't even know if they're even Black if you're going to. There's a lot of white people that go to HBCUs. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of non-Black people that go to HBCUs. So that's not addressing the people who we're talking about.
Yeah, no, seriously. Oh man,
you could be helping white people and Chinese people and non-Black people and Hispanics by trying to negotiate reparations to HBCUs.
Not all of it has to go to the HBCUs. I'm just saying like portions of it. Like I'm just saying break it into pieces. You know what I'm saying? Like not everything has to go one place.
Back to Black Americans. It's gonna go back to whoever owns the HBCU, which is going to be a white person.
Yeah, that is true. There are some HBCUs that are owned by white folk and everything. Yeah, man, that's crazy. I don't think not all HBCUs are owned by white folk.
Yeah, but you didn't say which ones. If you say HBCUs funding, you're talking about giving money to white people.
Really?
That's why that's why we can't vaguely do something. You got to do it for whatever cause and whatever is. That's why it's cash reparations. Because if you don't give the cash to the Black Americans, it's gonna go to white people.
All right. So then, if we had to give cash directly to Black Americans, where would it go?
Wherever they wanted to go.
Which would be.
Which at least you gave it to the Black people. Instead of giving it to something else, give it into another system that is ran by white people. At least you gave it to the Black people. Now, if they go, they'll have the option to give it to whoever they feel they want to build their wealth with. Like they can buy a house. That house, they're gonna be living in a house. At least they have that option. Now, if you wanna give them a house or acres of land, you can do that, but you also have to give them cash. Because guess what? That house has to be maintained. They have to pay taxes on that house. So you're gonna have to give the resource to the Black American. There's no other way around it. And that's the whole purpose of reparations, is to give to the Black American.
Yeah, man. Home ownership, especially, could really be helpful in the long run.
Yeah.
Especially like I grew up in like my family house, which I'm doing this popular interview out of right now, and like even though I'm thinking about moving to DC, we had talked about with my mom saying I was thinking about maybe the house we give it to my younger brother, since it's just like he was basically born here, but not born inside the house, but like he basically this is the only house that he's known like since he
Yeah, yeah.
and everything, and it's just it's like the prices, especially in Charlotte, because like you're from New York, right? You're currently in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, like here in Charlotte, there's a lot of people from New York, especially in places like New York, Chicago, Florida, and stuff of that nature. And due to the overpopulation, it's like it's home ownership is becoming more and more okay complicated.
If
And
I
it's
get a
like
house,
what?
I said if I get a house, it'd be in Chicago.
Oh, really? Why would Chicago out of all places? Chicago's beautiful though.
Chicago is just a beautiful place, man.
I want to
I
visit
wish I
there.
knew. I wish I wish I known. I wish I would have known some people that lived there, because Chicago is beautiful, man.
I mean, that's just the thing about moving. I don't know anybody personally in DC or DMV area except like, okay, there's my uncle that lives in Maryland, and my dad that lives in Northern Virginia. But it's just like, I don't know, man. If you want to move someplace and it's just in your mind to just move there, like if your intuition tells you to go there, you should definitely go there. Is there anything else about Chicago that makes you want to go there? I know the
Shit,
woman.
man.
Beautiful.
It's clean.
Especially up in the city and
It's a
whatnot, right?
clean city. I've never seen a clean city until I went to Chicago.
You should pull up to Charlotte one day and like just
I
visit.
should. I could do that.
Pretty
I got
cool.
family in North Carolina. North Carolina is kind of empty to me, but I've never been to Charlotte, so
Yeah, no, trust me, Charlotte will
I
definitely.
like I like
Charlotte's
how
definitely in the middle.
Chicago is a really, really big city and it's clean.
Oh yeah, no, seriously, like that's I didn't know that about Chicago. I think about Chicago, I'm thinking about like gang violence and everything and all types of crazy shit. What are the main ones? Is it Gangster Disciples that are in Chicago? I don't want to sound ignorant, but who's the main ones?
I don't even know.
You
I
don't
don't
even know.
even know.
Okay.
I haven't traveled on that side of Chicago. So
And where does your family stay here in North Carolina? They stay in Durham or Raleigh or something like that.
Gates. Gates.
They live in Gates.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, damn. Okay, well, at least they got a reason to come down to North Carolina. How far is Gates from Charlotte?
Maybe an hour.
Hour? Just an hour?
Maybe.
Oh, okay, well, that shouldn't be an issue then. Like, you can definitely commute in here, the Charlotte area and everything. I mean, I'm not really the
I
biggest.
want to know what the music scene is like, but before I guess because I definitely wanted to talk about this music to keep the people up to date what's going on.
Oh yeah, most definitely. We'll transition to that shortly. If I were to describe the music scene in Charlotte, it's like we're definitely on our way. But for me, I'm stepping out to go to DC and everything because I feel like there's more stuff going down over there. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
because it's just if you grew up here, it's just there's always going to be a whole lot of jealousy type shit going on. But if you're from out of town and you want to make I feel like there's more room for you. You know what I mean? Because then you can tap in with a lot of upcoming artists. Like even on my podcast, I've interviewed plenty of artists from Charlotte. You know what I mean? And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I'm so lucky to live into a time where it's like it isn't like LA or like New York or like Miami where it's like they already have like a very established hip hop scene and whatnot. Where it's like we're still trying to work the kinks out of it. It's kind of like the bucket of crabs mentality we spoke of earlier. That's the stuff that kind of holds us down and whatnot. But if you pretty much stay close to like a very solid group of people and everything, lock in with some cool folk, like then you'll be good. Like I know plenty of people in Charlotte that are just chill as
I
fuck.
think what it is that if people don't have money, they will not work together.
They will not work together. I mean, yeah, I know you seem to have a huge connect with money situation, and it's like, yeah, I feel your money makes the work go around. Like I can't even drop my next few projects unless I got the money to actually go to the studio and actually record it and then also
Yeah.
market it and do that. Like that shit threw me out of balance this whole year, and I haven't dropped anything the whole year, and I'm mad as shit. But it's like I know things are gonna get better because there was like a lot of legal matters I had to get situated to. But it's just off jump and everything. Like I feel like our city in Charlotte is like a very like underdog city. You know what I'm saying? Like we're actually larger than Atlanta, like populace and landmass wise. People don't know that. But Atlanta's more popping because they have more. I don't know if it's more money, but it's like they have a whole lot more black-owned business. That's one thing too. Like style, culture, they're more reflective of the times. They're
I
more.
was, yeah. I don't, I can't really compare because I've never been to Charlotte, but
You know.
I'm not a huge fan of Atlanta like that.
I mean, I want to tap into Atlanta because at the same time, due to the influence in Atlanta, I feel like that's kind of like our Hollywood in a sense on the East Coast. It's New York and Atlanta. Like, New York is like upper, like yeah, it's more everything. That's like that's heart of America is New York. But then Atlanta, like in this day and age, I feel like I feel like that's Black Hollywood because like they got the whole Tyler Perry studios down there, and then they have all sorts of stuff going on down there. They even I feel like there's more opportunity for like black growth down there. You know what I mean? So it's just I
Mm-hmm.
feel like Charlotte as a whole really needs to take a note out of places like Atlanta, especially. And another place we could definitely take note is the whole Michigan rap scene. Because like Michigan rap, like especially Detroit, like I feel like they're the most competitive, but at the same time they're like the most uh I feel like they're the most flexible in terms of just like the types of rappers that come out of Michigan. Like you have a Michigan rapper that be like drop like the most hardest shit and still have fun with it. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like they carry the true spirit of hip hop. Where just like, you can be hard as you want to, but you can also just have fun with it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I feel like that's a no we definitely need to take out. All said and concerned and everything. But it's like if you ever consider on maybe just tapping in on Charlotte and everything, if I'm still in town and one day you wanna hit me up, sure, I could definitely get you. I wouldn't say get you locked in, but I can definitely like just show you around, just see how you feeling about it. Show you some places, see how you feel about it. Like it's good to kind of step out of your hometown from time to time. You know what I mean? And like considering how we're about to Charlotte as a whole is really, really about to really go through a crazy metamorphosis this decade, it's better to really lock in and really, really invest in yourself in this time. You know what I mean? Like really, you can't slouch right now. You know what I mean? So that's just what I'm saying. But back on the home music thing, I know you spoke about your influence of being Tupac, correct?
Yeah.
And what other ways would you say Tupac influences you, or what other artists influence you?
I think his political mindset of not caring about what people think about him, the way he was able to express the oppression and voicing his pain without having to be too super lyrical, but just telling the story, that really inspires me to be more expressive in my music as well. Also, giving people that energy, that aggressive energy. Um, and that's why I made the song that I made. Called Grifters. It's one of the songs that you like. I feel like people are going to be able. That was going to sink in on people. I didn't. I was just being myself, rapping. I'm like, I know I got to do this beat some justice because this is Tupac's. It's a sample from Tupac, which you probably sampled from somebody else, but yeah, I definitely was looking forward to doing my thing and rapping and telling my story the same way he tells his story, and just being a social justice influence on record. Because I'm really about that in real life. Most people who rap about it aren't about being pro-black in real life. Man, most entertainers aren't. But my other influences, I probably would have to say I like Lloyd Banks, Pop Smoke. I think Pop Smoke brought an energy that I was feeling a lot, even though he was younger. And I had a thing for stack bundles, but a lot of people don't know who that is. So
I mean, it is what it is. We all know a couple rappers that maybe not a whole lot of people know. and it's just one of like I know like one rapper is my favorite rapper on SoundCloud that isn't famous is Nasty Nas and everything. I think he dropped something a while ago. I need to check and see what that's about and everything. But for real,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
But
feel like I feel like I feel like I unlocked I feel like I unlocked my rap skill on this album as an artist.
mm-hmm.
Like I feel like this is the type of album I should have put out maybe in 1 year. I kind of feel like I premeditated it and then dropped it a little too early because the quality is too good for people to not know about it. But at the same time, I also wanted to introduce myself to the world. And I feel like I'm gonna be making more music. And my next one is probably gonna be even better.
Oh yeah, sure. And what will be the focus of your next project?
The ladies.
Oh really? So you're trying to make it more R&B based, like a trap soul based?
Yeah, I'll probably head into like I want to start making songs like how they used to make in the '90s.
Mm.
How they had an R&B singer and then a dope ass rapper come into the chorus in a verse and then go back with the R&B singer. I feel like hip hop straight went away from that.
From having more of an R&B influence.
Yeah, like hip hop and rap songs. Like having an R&B song with dope rap lyrics.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Like I feel like do you feel like maybe rappers need to start collaborating with R&B singers a little bit more?
Well, if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be because not everybody has the sound or the ears for it. But
I mean,
I know it's missing. Maybe it's just not like when Future used Future does it with other rappers, but he's just not R&B. Like he has Wait for You. I mean, you know how Party Next Door and make a song with Drake, but I just feel like it's still more trap soul. It's not. It doesn't give me that R&B influence like they did when Ja Rule
yeah,
used
no,
to do
really.
records with Ashanti, like just classic records like that.
Yeah, no, no, dead ass, like for real. Like I feel like on the same token and everything, it's just like I feel like there's not a whole lot of R&B singers like there used to be. Like, you know what I'm saying?
No,
Like I
I
feel like
think
we need more Jagged Edge, we need more Boys to Men, we need more TLC, we need more In Vogue. You know what I'm saying? Like there's like the list goes on. Like I feel like we're just missing, you know?
yeah, we know. I don't think that I don't think that we should go in that direction and spread that narrative like that. The only reason why is because there's so much talent, but it's control. You gotta buy your way into the industry nowadays. So we only know so many people because the music industry is up for sale.
Yeah.
And we all look for music from the music industry, and the music industry is owned by people who are not us, and people and so the people who are running it that are us, they want us to pay our way inside it.
Mm, I mean, yeah, I feel like there's truth to that to a certain degree, but I feel like things are changing now. So we're like, I feel like rappers can be a whole lot more independent with whatever art they put out there. Like, there's be whole rappers putting out a whole lot of stuff that
Yeah, but you're
might
not
even
gonna.
be kind of alternative and like it
Yeah,
makes
but you're
sense to
not
blow
gonna
up.
know about them. You're not gonna know about them. Like if you talking about them having a lot of Instagram followers, a lot of streams, you'll never find out about that artist.
Mm, I mean,
He'll
maybe,
be on the other side of the world in a small little town. He might not be even selling out any shows because he could become popular online.
maybe.
A lot of artists can't sell out shows.
I mean, yeah, that's why I feel like maybe the one person pretty much study or maybe check in with is Russ for sure. I think Russ has like a story that it's like I feel like it's definitely something I feel like a lot of people need to check in with, especially rappers who really want to make the stuff work. Because dude was dropping project after project, was making no traction for a while, and now he's selling out stadiums and everything. So it's just goes to show that you just got to keep pushing until like you make that traction. Some people can you like drop a country cowboy hip hop song and go viral, and then that's how their career begun, and then they can blow up right off that and everything. Like I think Lil Nas X put on like $25 for that beat, and now it makes, and then it went diamond. You know, just because it was like a meme song for a little bit and made a whole lot of remixes. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
I'm
but that's not
to a certain
most
degree.
artists. You know, that's 1 out of every 1,000 artists they go viral. But
Yeah,
I'm
I
talking
know
about.
there's a whole lot of agenda with it, but yeah, for my case, really, I'm not really shooting to just blow up just to blow up. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to
Mhm.
refine my craft and build the best product I can so that people can get lost in my catalog. You know, because that's how I got into Kendrick and J. Cole. They were dropping mixtapes for years, even like while I was in middle school. I didn't really hear much about them until I was in high school, and then I look back at their catalog, and that's what really had me cemented as their fans. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It just goes like that. Like just listening to like the overly dedicated section 80 tapes from like Kendrick Lamar and even earlier to that, and even with J. Cole with like the warm up, um the come up and everything, and just Friday Night Lights, you know, like all those mixtapes, he came in so hard with it. So it's just like, you know, it's just like the hunger was just there. So it has you motivated too. You know what I'm saying? And that motivates you to listen to more songs, all types of songs and stuff of that nature. So it's like I'm in a wonderful stage of my career right now where it's like, you know, yeah, I dropped like one mixtape, but like, you know, I'm more focused on just putting more and more content. And then like the more content you put out, the more you put yourself out there, the more it will just come up that you earned it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you know, it's even whether you blow up or you make a whole lot of money about it, whatever. Just it's the journey, bro. And then whatever comes through with it, if it turns into something great, wonderful. If it doesn't turn as best as you wanted it to be, that oh well, at least you tried. And that's kind of my mindset when it comes to this. You know, like that's just it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's just
So,
yeah, stuff like
yeah. I feel like that's what. And it took me a while because I've been making music for a long time, but I put together. I tried to put together the best quality work that I did this album.
and you're good. You're damn good with it too, man. I can't wait to hear like more of your stuff too and add it to my playlist and stuff. It's just it's you can only get better. That's the best part about it. So it's just like when someone really does discover you and then see how you came up and listen to all your old songs, be like, dang, bro. Are you shooting to get signed or do you want to just be independent
I
throughout your
want to. No, I'm shooting to get signed.
uh,
Yeah, because I think what I want to bring to the game is bigger than music. And if I
uh,
got to write some music, I'm willing to do that.
Okay, I see that. I mean, a part of me wanted to get signed at one point, or shooting to get signed. I'm more focused on just gaining leverage. So if like I can sign like a partnership deal, you know what I'm saying? Like Russ with Sony or XS Tentacion with Epic Records. You know what I mean? Like let me keep my creative control. Let me drop whenever I want to, or drop however I feel like I'm obligated to. But let me just have the creative control held together so that you know like I can still like build that relationship with my fans and whatnot. You know, I feel like building a bigger fan base is gonna be more your lifeblood than just you know blowing up and you know and just giving a whole lot of money and resources. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we live in a wonderful time where you can do that. You can do it through YouTube. You can do like just how you spoke of like the Twitterverse on your end, and then it's just like Instagram too. Like it's just like you know once you really reach to a point where you're doing other things, where you write articles, blogs, whatever, you do whatever you got to do, you can definitely get that situated whole, just to connect with your fan base and make sure that your content is put there out there like that. What are your goals for next year in 2023 or 2023, 2024, 2025? Like, what's your 3 year plan moving forward?
Probably do some
Do some what?
videos.
Oh yeah, most that. You haven't dropped a video yet?
Nah.
Yeah, that's on my bucket list too this year. For real.
And that's it. I wanna sell out a show.
Oh yeah, I think you can do it for sure. I don't want to say I think and whatnot. You should definitely tap into these people on Instagram, and I always bring them up. I'm basically sponsoring them at this point. There's people on Instagram called Crowd Freak. It's an organization to help independent artists score
Just
score
just
in,
seen the post it.
what?
I just seen some girl post about it.
Oh, Crowd Freak
Yeah.
in Detroit.
Yeah, she lives
Yeah,
in
dude.
Detroit too.
Their logo and everything is on my vision board for this year and everything. I definitely want to tap in with their distribution service. And if things do go a certain way this upcoming year, because I really don't know what's coming up, but I'm praying that everything is put in place. That I get everything in my life situated. I would definitely like to use their distribution service to one redrop my first mixtape Ego Trip. I want to drop it with a 12 with all my songs remix, and definitely want to drop the rest of my projects throughout a distro freak, most certainly. And it's just just pretty much take it and see what opportunities they're going to give for that, because they can literally fly you out, get you a hotel room, and you can be able to perform at festivals and everything. So it's just something to consider. So it's like I definitely want to start performing next year. Definitely want to start dropping videos next year. Maybe do YouTube videos also next year. Maybe do the whole Mental Threats podcast live, so I can be able to do it on video also. That's definitely going to be a switch up for real. But it's just a step by step process. It's all about really setting a goal for yourself. One of my goals is to drop 50 songs next year. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but that's what I'm shooting for. I want to do all that before I relocate to DMV area. You know what I mean? So it's just stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, I feel on that. So it's just in regards to the whole R&B sound that you're trying to shoot for. Are you trying to shoot for like sample beats, like 90s song sample beats, or
Yeah,
shoot for like that's what you're pretty much shooting for?
yeah.
Have you heard of 318 Tay?
Nah.
Okay, look up on YouTube 318 Tay. Spell the number 3, number 18, 318, 318, and then Tay spelled Tae. I could probably send you like some of his work to just give you some inspiration. Everything. If you want to buy a beat from them, you should definitely consider it too. But it's like, yeah, man, like I that's one of the direction I'm trying to go to through also throughout next year. If I want to drop a project with sample beats and things of that nature, maybe a mini EP to kind of test out the waters with it. It's really just a matter of like putting that foot down for it and things of that nature. So it's like yeah, I think you could definitely do it for sure. I mean, you're very talented. I feel like you have a whole lot of space to grow as an artist, Mr. Stepper. But since we're nearing the end of the podcast episode, I just want to say, do you have any final words to let people know before we go off?
Yeah, check me out on all platforms. The name is Stepper. The album is Steppers. We call spell Stepper, Stepper. You can look me up. Vino Vernacular, also artist. It's out everywhere on all streaming platforms, on all digital platforms. You will not be upset. I'm what the game needs. I'm bringing back lyrics. I'm bringing back hooks, and I'm bringing back hip hop. We just newly innovated with it, and we just got a whole bunch of a whole bunch of love for the Black community that I'm also going to be contributing to in the near future. So look forward to me speaking out against the grifters, the thieves, and spreading the message to get our people to revolt and cause a revolution to free themselves from oppression.
Yeah, most definitely. I feel like you can definitely push those directions and put those messages out there for sure. All right, that's it from the Mental Threats podcast, episode 144. We're sewing in and now we're sewing out.